Andre Rudnick here from Good Subscription Agency, and I'm back in the beautiful wilderness of Yukon, and I'm going to be continuing talking about subscriptions and the challenges of building a whole retention engine and a retention process for your company. I think this is going to be a big challenge for a lot of businesses in 2026. We know that about 75 to 80% of businesses that offer subscriptions right now do not prioritize or optimize their PDPs to acquire subscribers first. Why is that the problem? Or why is that the case? Well, typically it's because because the teams are just not ready for acquiring subscribers, primarily because a lot of customers are still, a lot of browsers and effectively site traffic is not yet still expecting to be signed up for a subscription by default. A lot of customers, especially returning customers, who are going through the purchase process of repeat items or placing their second or 10th order, if all of a sudden they're pre-selected to subscribe and save, they will reach out to the support staff and to the CS teams, and they will complain that they have been tricked into a subscription, which is very, very common, and that's typically what we see. We see brands try to prioritize subscriber acquisition on the product pages and then quickly revert back because of the backlash from on the CS team. Now, one of the things that the reason why this happens is, and the reason why businesses switch back is, you might not have clear enough priority, or you might not be enabled enough as a support team or as a retention team on at a brand, if you do have a dedicated retention team and a head of retention, to actually make the necessary changes to not, quote unquote, trick customers into subscriptions, to properly, let's call it that, and transparently label subscribe and save on the product pages. Maybe make it a necessary choice rather than a default choice, and basically effectively graying out both buttons, a one-time or subscribe and save, and asking a customer proactively to select one or the other before they can add to cart. We've seen some successes with that. So that's a couple of things to think about as a business, and especially on the C-suite level. Now, the challenge of that is that if you don't have the right team set up, if you don't have, for example, a head of retention or a head of subscriptions that is a dedicated person, the responsibility and the KPIs that you're trying to monitor and grow, for example, fundamentally, I mean, every business looks at CAC to LTV ratios, but if you think about it as LTV, fundamental LTV just gets dispersed across so many departments that it becomes a really tough thing to enforce, quote unquote, or track, or actually have any meaningful results over. So if you look at order 2 success rates or order 3 success rates, so and order 2, order 3 retention, effectively, those are pretty good proxy KPIs for that, because they're much more relevant to the top line. Now, the trick there is, again, making your team feel empowered enough to be able to, and prioritizing, which means prioritizing those projects from the top down, saying that, no, we do need better upcoming order email notifications. We do need a better login process for our subscriptions. We need to send upcoming SMS reminders of subscription orders. It's fundamentally really boils down to a simple fact that a lot of early adopters to subscriptions, and especially the businesses that did prioritize subscriber acquisition first and foremost, businesses that are acquiring 60-70% of first-time purchases as subscribers, they have tweaked and optimize their marketing engine, often from top of funnel to the conversion point on the website itself, to work that way and to prioritize subscribers and prioritize subscriber LTV. However, they've become LTV focused, but not subscriber focused. So, and they're not really customer centric in that sense, because that is fundamentally the biggest challenge, is how do you change the whole organization, not just the marketing team, to be subscriber focused. So I'll be continuing talking more about that in coming videos. But yeah, there are lots to chat about this year. All right, cheers.